Hi there, Juan. Can't hear you. Can you try that again? Hello? Can you hear me okay? There we go. Hi there.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
How are you?
I'm okay, thank you. Yeah.
Very well.
Very good. Excellent. So, I believe you'll be presenting. Do we have slides?
Yeah, I have the slides here.
Wonderful. Just like to check those. So you should be able to share your screen.
Okay, do you want me to do now?
Yes, please. I like the background as well. Thank you very much. Keeping it all on brand.
Yeah. Can you see the slides?
Yes, I can. You can just flick back and forwards, please, just to make sure they are moving. And oh, yeah, your mouse is there. Yeah, wonderful. Good. Yeah, we're ready to go. So we've got about 4 minutes or so until go live, and I'll let you know when you can start the presentation. We're running. Let me just check the timings until 11:10, and there are sort of automatic cutoffs on the platform which we're using. So do try and finish. You know, on either on time or slightly early. I'll just make sure that it isn't sort of abruptly stopped because we have someone from Amdoc starting at 11:10, and that'll be automatically starting.
Okay. Now somebody told me to leave maybe 5 minutes at the end for questions in the chat or something like that. So I don't.
Yeah. So if you have time, if any questions come through, I can let you know. I'll keep an eye on Swapcard, and the questions will pop up on there. So I will let you know if we get to sort of 5 minutes before the end and there's some questions. I'll let you know.
Okay, I have the chat here in another computer, so okay, I will be able to see. But if we can see at the end how it went.
Perfect.
Okay.
Good. So yeah, 2.5 minutes, and we'll begin.
Okay, you tell me now when I can start.
Not just yet. A couple of minutes, and I'll let you know when.
Very good.
You've been enjoying the show?
Yeah, well, I could see on the first two presentations. Then I had to go out. I saw Diego from Telefonica and the guy from automation. The first one at 9 a.m. Yeah, it's good.
Excellent. Good to hear. But yeah, do make sure you're on the platform when you contact a few people. The video calling on there is very good, so you can see some people. I don't know. the pubs opened yesterday in the UK, so we had a rare moment of actually going out and seeing people yesterday.
Yeah, that's good. And in Spain, we can go out, so it's we have to be at home at 10 p.m. Or we cannot move from Madrid.
10, so you can't even have dinner out.
Yeah. We used to have dinner late here in Spain, but yeah, if you go here, you can have dinner. You cannot move from your state, but Madrid is very big, so
yeah,
I would say we are not very restricted now.
Okay.
We go to the office. We go to the office a couple of days a week. So I had to go to there, but I'm at home because in the office I had to wear the face mask again. I think it was not a very good image.
Yeah, we ran an event, and someone one of the speakers was in the office, and they had to pay a half day's wage if they were as a fine if they were caught without a mask. So they had.
I cannot do that. So I'm at home. I'm fine here. So
good. Okay, so we'll start in a minute. 1 minute to go. Okay, you can begin your presentation now, please. I'll go on mute.
Hello, good morning to everybody. I'm Juan Manuel Caro from Telefonica, and well, in the next 20 minutes, I will share with you what's our strategy in this wonderful world of automation and AI. We have a chat. If you have any questions, you can put that during the presentation, and I will try to leave some minutes at the end to answer any of your questions. So let's go. So I think the first thing is try to understand why are we doing all of this. Now, if automation or this AI is really a hype or what's behind that. No? And I think all of you that are in this sector know what's happening right now and the transformation we are experiencing. It all starts from our customers, and they are demanding more and more of our networks. People is imagining amazing new use cases, and we are talking about connected cars or autonomous cars or virtual reality, augmented reality, or the Internet of Everything. So there are a lot of new things that are going to change society, and that a lot of people is developing, and that will ask a lot of our networks and things that we really cannot provide with the current architecture and the current technology that we have and that we have had during the last years. That new use cases will demand new features really from our network, and we will have to move huge amount of traffic. We will have to have millions of connected devices. We have to provide ultra low latencies. Each of them requires a lot of new things from our networks. And again, we have to do things differently if we want to provide that. No? In order to do that and to improve these features, we are rolling out in the last years different technologies. No, I would say the most important of them are two, as I see it. That is, one is virtualization, and the other are the open architectures. No? And this is something that is still improving, and we have still a lot to do, and we have still a lot of, I wouldn't say legacy, but networks that are not in this new fashion. And we have to do a great job here of rolling out all these networks. No? And these new networks are amazing. They will give us all the flexibility to do slicing, to go to the edge, to decrease latency, to do things very much more agile way. But they are both a challenge as an opportunity from the operations point of view. No, they are a challenge really, because the truth is these new networks are more complex than the ones that we have today. For example, in virtualization, we are breaking what are robust products into at least 3 layers. Now we have the infrastructure layer, the virtualization layer, and on top of that, the VNFs or CNFs. That can be all from different providers or technologies. So we are breaking a product into 3 vertically, and on the other axis, for the open architectures, we are breaking the products horizontally. You know, for example, in Open RAN, when we have today a product from one vendor, we are splitting that into 4, 5, or 6 different vendors now, joining together different pieces through the common interfaces, and even virtualizing that, and even having CUs and DUs and the software and the antenna and the radio head and all that kind of things potentially from different vendors. So for operations, we are going to live in a much more complex domain. We have to change our skills. We have to change our tools, the way we troubleshoot and understand the things that are happening there. No? But on the other hand, this is a huge opportunity, not only because it will give us the opportunity to provide that new features that will allow new services, that hopefully will allow more revenue and change even the society, but because we have been talking a lot about automation and about self whatever or plug and play or autonomous networks during the last 10 years, I would say. But now really with these new softwareized networks, we have a real opportunity of going towards that and making that more real. No? Now, if we do these things well, this is a great opportunity. And again, automation now becomes the core of this network. Now, these networks cannot be managed without automation. No? Even if we had a lot more people or a lot more things, automation is needed to manage this complexity of a network with hundreds of virtualized nodes and hundreds of VNFs and edge and slices and all that kind of things. So without automation, they will not even work. And then it's not only automation that is going to be very important, but why AI? No, why are we talking about AI in this network domain? Now, we have been doing automation for a lot of time. I've been in Telefonica for 20 years, and I'm doing automation and efficiencies in operation maybe for 15. And we know how to do that. Now we have automated a lot of the things in our networks. But now in this environment that you see here, and that you will know, when we start to talk about this zero touch, zero weight, zero travel, everything, self-provisioning, self-healing, all that kind of things are going to demand more than the usual automation or scripting. Or in this super complex environment with different verticals for different industries or slices, we cannot program everything like we used to do in the past, that if this happens, then do that or whatever. No, we need a lot of these new techniques like pattern recognition or anomaly detection or predictive maintenance or predictive networks in order for the network to cope with unexpected things and know how to react, and even react before it happens, because later it's too late. And so all these AI techniques or machine learning techniques are paramount to be able to manage the networks, and will give us, as I said, three main advantages that we need. No, of course, they will make our networks more efficient. Now, if they are really autonomous or zero touch, it will be more efficient to run. That is very important. We need, on the other hand, agility, where we need to really be able to deploy and change things on the fly to respond to the customer demands that are going to be more and more present. And at the end, we will be able to provide a better customer experience. Now, if we don't do this well, this complexity will drive into a disaster. But if we do it very well, a virtualized network, fully automated, being able to move loads on demand, on real time, predicting problems and adjusting to that will give us, if we do it well, as I repeat, a better customer experience. So AI is a must in this environment. Traditional automation is not any longer valid. In Telefonica, we have put a very aggressive goal, not to go towards the autonomous network, whatever it is, because I think we are even discussing in the industry what is that in the highest level. No? And we have this path that is very common in the industry of these 6 levels, where we are trying to move towards that and to understand what it is to have a real autonomous network and what does it mean. No? And we are working basically in these 5 pillars that you can see here. No? As I said, automation is key. So managing these networks without automation is going to be impossible, even if we got unlimited resources. No? We need the network to be fully automated, or it won't work. It's not as it used to be a thing of only efficiency or an afterthought when you put these some new technologies in the network, and then the operations guys run after the automations to really keep that efficiency in place. This has to be at the core, or it will not work. No, as I said, automation is not enough. We are talking about intelligence. I don't know if it's the best word, but intelligence is what we think. We need the network, and it's written somewhere there, to be even self-aware. No, we need this artificial intelligence and these predictions, and we need to cope with an additional complexity that are what I call the hierarchies of automation. And we will have AI embedded in every device, in every chip, in every layer. Every vendor will have their own managing systems with AI to make the best decisions in their domains. But then we have multi-domain, and then we have service orchestration. We have a lot of things where we can put intelligence with a different view, maybe trying to make contradictory decisions, and we have to govern all that. That is not an easy thing to do. So we are start to think about that, and I'm trying to put a path forward in this domain also. The other one has to be simplification. Although at the deepest layer, we will have more vendors and from different technologies that we will have to test together and to make that happen. On the upper levels, it's paramount to hide that complexity, or automation is going to be a disaster. So here, the architecture, the open architectures, the standards is paramount, and we have to really, as an industry, go towards there. The other is, of course, collaboration, getting out the silos, have an end-to-end vision of the network, and we traditionally are very siloed in the data. We have to have this full data lake that I will talk later to allow our tools to have full visibility of what's happening with a customer vision, with an end-to-end vision. And at the end, and not the least important of all is security. Now, this all is going to be fed by data. We are going to manage huge volumes of data to be able to build our algorithms and make them work. We have to make sure that they are built in a secure way. So these are the steps that we are going towards. This slide is just to highlight that we have been doing automation for a long time, and even we have been doing some of this machine learning or AI, if you want, techniques for a long time. Now, this slide is very old; it's some years, but just to show to you that this is not new. Now we have been applying these techniques to the old network, not the virtualized networks and not to the open networks during the last year. Now, in fact, we have more than 400 use cases now up and running. Some very easy, some much more complex in our network right now, but not in a holistic way of trying to manage the whole network. That is what is needed now, and I will talk in the next slide. But not in a basis case by case that has made us to really learn what it is to manage the data, to clean the data, to create the data models, to train the things, to do closed loop. We have been learning in Telefonica and in the industry for a long time, and now I think it's the moment to get a push and get this holistic brain in the network. No? Just to highlight some of them, as I said, these are all examples just to see some of the things we are doing in artificial intelligence today. The first one, this is called fiber supervision. It applies image recognition, and this is very funny case that I like a lot. We have put some cameras in buses or coaches in some countries, and when they detect these yellow machines that are doing civil works on the road, they look at the GPS and send a message, and we can check automatically if we have been noticed that there is a civil work there, or if our cables are coming near that place, and if it is all is okay, perfect. But if not, we send a guy there to see you are doing civil works here, our cable is running just from here, and you should have noticed and be careful. No? And we have prevented a lot of cuts in some Latin American countries. Now, this is, I think, a funny use case, and probably not very fancy, very much civil war, but it has saved us a lot of problems in fiber cuts and things like that. No? We have some others about prediction and predictive maintenance has been with us for a long time. And in some cases, you can really predict or at least put a high probability of some cells that are going to fail for whatever the reason, and you are able to detect the patterns in all the alarms and the logs, and be able to anticipate yourself. And instead of waiting 2 or 3 days and go there in a hurry during the night to do a maintenance, corrective maintenance, prioritize your predictive maintenance and go to these sites that are with a higher probability of failing for whatever the reason, and solve them without any customer disruption. And this, as I say, for some scenarios, is working very well, and I think it's solved in the industry, and we have very good experiences for this in the radio network. Another one is not only predicting the fault, but being able to understand the use case. And when you're in rural areas and you have to go there, or even with a boat, and you spend a couple of days to reach to the base station, it's very important that you have a very clear understanding of what's the problem, so you can give the spare parts and all that kind of things and the right person there. So again, try to predict when there's a fault, which is a root case, and what will you need to solve it is very important, and working very well in some of our more rural areas. Others about customer experience. Now we measure customer experience asking our customers, and this is very well, but you can ask a very limited set of customers. No? What we ask to ourselves is, can we predict if I ask any random customer what will be his or her response to this survey? Can we, based on the technical KPIs that I have for everybody, really predict if their subjective satisfaction for Wi-Fi, for mobile? And again, the answer is yes. Now, with the right amount of data and anonymized and all that kind of things, we can really understand which is the perception of our customers in some neighborhoods or areas or whatever with the network, without asking them directly, not training the models with real customers. And that's a leapfrog of understanding what's happening there without having to ask millions of customers. So this really works very well. But if we want to go, and this is the last slide, we want to go to a very holistic AI and automation way of working towards an autonomous networks. Automation is, of course, very important. Use cases are, of course, very important, but but you have to take into account a lot more. It's much more complex than only in quotes do the use cases and program the algorithms. Now you need to change the whole organization, you need to change the tools, you need a whole change of the company. And that's now the project that we have launched in Telefonica, that I'm leading in the group. And it's about transforming really the operating model to enable this autonomous network. And we have some layers. You can see here, some of them I structure always in three. The first one we have called enablers, and is that the old OSS that are very much siloed, one for fault management, one for performance management, other for configuration management, every one of them connected to all our networks, one with alarms, other with counters, they don't talk to each other. I think that way of working is over in the new networks. Now we need to really be very much data driven. We are building data lakes, putting the data there. And on top of that, being able to develop apps that can do use cases, fault assurance, whatever the thing, with a complete vision of network, and being able to do closed loop. Orchestration is also here, data management, data security, all the tools, AI platforms, data lakes, as I said, all these things that will enable us to do automation that are at the basic of anything. And before you even think of a use case or a case, you need to have this very well planned and very well organized and deployed for these new networks. Is a huge amount of work before even thinking about automation. The next one is automation itself, and we have to put automation at the core of every team. And once you have the enablers deployed and every team, the planning team, the engineering team, the testing team, the monitoring team, or whatever, every team in the technical areas, they have their own data there and the capabilities. You have to train them and change their job description. So part of their time has to be to do the job, and part of the time has to be to automate their task. And you have to train them to let them be experts in automation. Not everybody programming AI at the complex level, but yes, at the simple level to really be able to automate their own processes. And putting automation at the core of everything. And the third layer that we have called new ways of working is based on what you can see here about breaking the silos until the end of network and IT that we have, of course, started, and we are working very much closely, but we need to go closer because the network is going to be in a telco cloud, even in the public cloud part of it. We need a lot of IT and network working together, breaking the silos between plan, engineering, and operate, and going towards much more DevOps, re-skilling our people, probably rethinking the mix of in and outsource. We have to change the way we work dramatically and change all these processes, the way we measure ourselves, the KPIs. We have to do CI, CD, CT, all these works. And this is a whole revamp for the organization. So it is not enough to really think of brilliant use cases and program them. No, you have to change the whole way of working. Life cycles of these technologies are going to shorten dramatically. You have to cope with hundreds of VNFs, with a lot of releases every year of each of them. You have to test them one to the other because you will have a much more bigger ecosystem of vendors, and you have to change all these things around automation and AI, or it will not work. And finally, we have a different vendor map, and we have to treat different them and relation ourselves with the ecosystem in a different way. And we have smaller vendors, and we have vendors from the IT side, and we have to change the traditional RFP, 100 requisites part, and go much more to a partnership. So this is our approach to automation and AI. I hope you find that interesting. It's really very short time to explain in a lot of details. I don't know if there is any question in the chat. I will try to.
I don't know. At the moment, there's no questions. So I'll just encourage anyone with any follow-up with you to message you directly over the platform and to take things from there. But